We were both actually contestants on Stump the Schwab.
Except he won. I lost on a question about Tommy Moe.
Oh, nah, that's a hard question.
It was tough.
I didn't get anything like that,
No,
so that's insane.
It's quite all right.
But I'd like to introduce this gentleman, one of my good friends, and I have so much respect for his knowledge, Mr. Seth Kamens. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, buddy.
Oh, pleasure.
Gotta say, I've watched the show for about a year or 2 years now, and
Thank you.
You've had Sal Paolantonio, you've had Mike Breen, you've had Hakeem Olajuwon. Now you have me. The upward crescendo just keeps on rolling. It's great.
but that's what it's all about, to have people. I want to have knowledgeable people.
It's a good group. You got a good group on here. I'm thrilled to be on here. We've been talking about doing this for months now.
Absolutely.
This was the show that I wanted to do, and I'm glad that we could work it out.
Oh, I'm glad too. I'm very glad too. And I want to just set up my graphics real quick. There we go. So, but I want to. There's so much to talk about, literally and figuratively, and we have. Oh, wow, the year 2008. And what Seth and I are going to do, we're going to break down the year 2008, the year of 2008 in sports in 3 categories. First will be the top 10 coaches, leaders, and or managers,
however you want to put it.
Right, exactly. The top 10. Then the top 10 athletes of the year of 2008, and then last but not least, the top 10 events.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of debate on this, a little bit of fun.
Exactly, definitely.
Let's just get rolling.
And you came up with some names that totally came out that I totally forgot about. So it's beautiful.
I gotta bring something here.
Definitely, but here we go with the first topic. There we go with the top coaches and our managers and our leaders.
Gotcha.
But we have, all right, number 10, Charlie Manuel. You and I are not
loving it.
But Phillies World Series champions, and they were able to make their second straight comeback over the Mets.
2 years in a row in September, they've come back over the Mets over pretty significant deficits. They were the underdogs against the Dodgers. They were, you have to give them credit. Do I think Charlie Manuel's a great coach, great manager? I don't know. I don't think so. But, you have a team with Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, Brad Lidge was sensational this year. But at the end of the day, they got the job done.
Those were the guys, basically.
And he was their leader, so you got to give him credence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some credence to that, excuse me.
Yeah, no question. And also, too, with his mother dying as well.
It's true.
During the playoffs, that was huge. And for his players to rally around him, that shows,
Yeah.
Because they love him being he's a player's coach, a player's manager.
But again, 6 months ago, they were saying he may be out.
Yeah, right.
It's an amazing turnaround.
Right. And because that's the difference with the Mets and the Phillies. The Phillies, I said this before, the Phillies, they have players with balls, excuse my language,
Never heard such language.
Excuse, but the lack of a better term, they have players that come up at the right time, and I'm a Met fan, so, I'm keeping it real,
I'm a Yankee fan. It's not bothering me too much.
Right. But next, Nick Saban, Alabama Crimson Tide. No one expected Nick Saban for Alabama in the SEC to be undefeated going into the championship game, and they were a quarter away from winning over Florida.
Not this quick. Everyone assumed that Saban would be this good 2, 3, 4 years down the line. No one thought it'd be this fast. They started the year beating the ACC favorite Clemson by about 20, 25 points.
Yeah, and that was big.
They beat Georgia, who was the preseason number 1, by 35. It may not have been the best year.
They were leading by 35. Yeah. Georgia made 12. I think 12. It was a 12-point victory.
I thought it was larger than that. I thought it was around 49-20. But by the whether it was a down year for the SEC or not is regardless a phenomenal job by Nick Saban.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just because we don't have any other college football coaches, I kind of wanted to bring him up. Give a little bit of props to Joe Pa.
Yeah, Joe Pa.
Joe Paterno, they go 11-1 and lose on a disputed pass interference call at Iowa, leading to the game-winning field goal. Otherwise, they'd be in the national title game right now.
Yeah, but remember the SEC is more.
It's a better conference.
Doc Rivers, you and I had some disagreement.
Yeah.
But you have to say, though, the Celtics, for them to win this many games and then win a championship the first year of those guys being together, that takes a lot of...
It's a stunning turnaround. There's nothing... the last one I think that was even comparable is when David Robinson came in with the Spurs. Maybe it was when Tim Duncan came in with the Spurs. But at the end of the day, you have a team that really had Paul Pierce and nothing prior to this. And Al Jefferson was a nice player. You get a top 30 all-time player in Garnett, still at the somewhat prime of his career.
Right.
You have Ray Allen, who is still one of the 5 best shooters in basketball. These are 3 guys who have never been to a championship. They've never hit. They had their egos were lowered enough where they could work together to work for a common goal. I mean, I give Doc Rivers. You have to give Doc Rivers credit for being there. I mean, he obviously played a part. I don't think it was any. I don't think what he did was overly sensational. I think Kevin Garnett brought that team together more than Doc Rivers did. But
Doc, you know, being able to coach with those egos, that's a great thing.
But when you can push down the when
you have players
when you have these, they've had every individual accolade, Olympic gold medals, you know, MVPs. They've had it all. So to me, you know, there was nothing they needed. This is the only thing that they needed to fulfill their career. There was no money. There's no more money. They're not going to make more money going further down the line. The salaries aren't. This isn't for salary. This is for the championship.
Right.
And, you know, you give them credit, but I don't. You give Doc Rivers credit, but I wouldn't have put him in my list. I would have put, I don't know, maybe Mike Smith from Atlanta. The Falcons. Mike Smith.
Yeah.
So,
but you know,
it's a debate. That's what this is here for.
Definitely, and the pressure was on him, and he was able to
get the pressure off. At the end of the day, they won the championship. Exactly. There's nothing really you can say.
Tony Sperano, Bill Parcells, the combination of those guys, real quickly, Miami, they could win the AFC East title with a win over the Jets.
The Miami Jets game is being filmed. Will be tomorrow, and as of now, if Miami wins the game, they'll win the AFC East. An incredible job, and especially Bill Parcells, who's caught a lot of flack in the last couple of years in Dallas. He is, you know, nobody saw this coming. I mean, this is an incredible job by Tony Soprano. Chad Pennington has been unbelievable, and of course, the irony of Chad going back to New York, to try and win the AFC East is pretty funny.
Amazing, and Pat Summitt. I mean, once again, you know, just with the Tennessee Volunteers, the work that she's done, one of the greatest coaches in history for any sport, not just women's basketball, not just basketball, but in any sport.
There's no one in her class. And it would have been, it's too bad. I would have really liked to have seen how she would have succeeded coaching men's basketball.
Yeah, interesting.
You know, it would have been a really interesting, because if there was ever anyone who could pull this off, it would be her. And yeah, I mean, what she did at Tennessee with Candace Parker and who she's had over the years, Shamika Holdsclaw.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the greatest women's coach of all time. I don't think there's really much debate about
Right,
this.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, she's fantastic.
Right. And I think Gino Ariema may disagree.
Yeah, well, my guess is they're not really big fans of each other.
Exactly.